It's time to get ramblin' with your host of the Ramblin' Bout Wrestling podcast, Nick Pearl. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Ramblin' Bout Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Nick Pearl, and if you can't tell, I was at WWE Roadblock last night at the theater in Madison Square Garden. What a crazy show this was, and it had no right to be this crazy. It was a free television special that I paid $75.75 to go and be in person for. Obafemi and Moose. I love Moose. A lot of people saying, Nick, I don't know why you're so excited for Moose to be on NXT. After watching this match, I hope you understand why I was so excited. Stephanie Vicaire and Julia. We got the first ever NXT Women's Dual Champion. You also had Ethan Page and Javon Evans having a banger street fight, even though they didn't go in the street. You also had a very, very good opener tag match, Fraxium versus the Hardys. Always fun to see the Hardys. I thought maybe Fraxium would become the first WWE contracted talent to win a TNA title. It didn't happen, but again, we'll talk about it. And of course, the final match that happened on this show, I gotta look at this shirt. Oh, Roxy versus Jordynne Grace. It happened. It was fun. Could it be Roxanne's final NXT match? It's possible, but we're gonna get into all this and more coming up right now on the Ramblin' Bout Wrestling podcast. Yeah, so I'm sorry I've been gone for a little bit. It's been maybe a week and a half without an episode. I still posted a couple of reactions, but I've been sick. You could still kind of hear it in my voice. My ears are still clogged. Look, I'm sorry. I'm back now. And what a way to come back right after a banger show, which had no right to be this good, at the theater at MSG. Now, I hadn't been to the theater in years. The last time I went, I thought was for a Wiggles show. No, it apparently was the Christmas Story musical, which was also fantastic. I don't think they run that anymore. But being back at the theater, it was one of the strangest vibes I've ever been in. And not because it was weird, just how enclosed everything was. I wanted to get there earlier. If the doors opened at 7, matches started at 7:30, I would have liked to have been there, by like 6:30, 6:45. That didn't end up happening. I ended up getting a chicken sandwich with my cousin Eamon, and then we walked over. A lot more people than I thought. It was packed. It was sold out. Completely sold out. Could not believe it. I didn't expect it. I mean, I saw the ticket map, but it didn't look like there were that many seats. Boy, was I wrong. I wanted merch. The merch line was freaking packed. I said, oh man, how am I supposed to get my event t-shirt? I waited till after the show. The line moved real quick. Eamon wanted to get a drink. So as we're getting drinks, they start announcing, Booker T coming out, Mickie James coming out. I said, Eamon, if I miss The Undertaker coming out, I'm going to kill you. He got his drink. Of course, his card got declined. He had to try it again. We ran in, and it was just in time to see The Undertaker walk out. No gong, which kind of sucked. But he's really Mark Calloway now. He's not really The Undertaker. So he came out really awesome to see him in the ring. But I thought we were going to get a promo. I thought he was going to interrupt somebody, hit a choke slam, cheap pop. They were taping the WWE LFG finals, and I didn't even know these were the finals. They didn't really make a big deal out of it at all. They just kind of put on a women's match and a men's match, and then they called it a day. I have not had a chance to check this show out. I've heard good things, and apparently it got renewed for a season 2, and they're replacing Mickie James with Michelle McCool. So you get that Undertaker-Michelle dynamic, which is going to be fun to watch. But Mickie James! We love Mickie James! Maybe she stays in the company in some other type of fashion. Regardless, LFG happened. They taped the 2 matches. And 3 minutes before NXT was scheduled to start is when they started changing the ring apron and everything. I kid you not, 7:57, 7:58, LFG stopped, and then they started transferring over. So they didn't have a ton of time. So the first match starts, And there's something that actually bothers me a little bit. Not about this match, but about what happens after the matches. I feel like there wasn't a ton of time to let moments breathe. And I'll explain. So, Fraxium comes out. Hardys come out. Oh, always a treat to see the Hardys. I saw them at HOG. I saw them in AEW. And now I'm seeing them in NXT as their TNA contracted talent. And I really thought Fraxium, like I said before, I thought they were going to beat the Hardys. But of course, is Fraxium okay? That's always the story they're trying to tell. They always have some type of issue in a big-time match. But when they need to get the job done, they always do. They always still manage to come out on top. Probably the best tag team in the game right now. And they were just thrown together. I do not want to see them break up at all because there are so many future matches that you can do with these guys. You just gave them the Hardys. Just because they suffered heartbreak and didn't beat their idols doesn't mean that it wasn't one of the best moments of their entire lives. Going out there in the theater at Madison Square Garden, versing the Hardys. And the Hardys, of course, hit all their signature offense. Jeff Hardy hitting the Swanton. Every time somebody went to the top rope, the whole crowd had to stand up. I don't understand why, because we could see it from where we were sitting. But no, one person stands up in the front row. That means everybody's got to stand up. So the whole theater was standing. I said, might as well stand the whole show. We have a better view than just sitting. Hardys came out on top. And then here is where my issue is. Matchup ends. Hardys celebrate. Fraxium gets up. You think they're going to shake hands and stuff. Let's just go out. That's it. I wanted to see show respect between the two teams. I wanted to cheer them for their performance. But no. Hardy's music plays. They celebrate for maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Lights go out. That's it. Then they start playing, I guess they're recording live from backstage as the Hardys wave and then they walk off. That's it. The Hardy Boys, you just do that to them? You don't get them to have a little bit of a send-off? They're probably done in NXT for now. I don't see them coming back, at least for a couple of weeks, much like Moose, but we'll talk about Moose. I don't know. I thought the moment should have breathed a little bit. But you have 2 hours, you have 5 matches. It's kind of hard for you to do that, I guess. All right, whatever. Following that, you got Roxanne Perez going up against Jordan Grace. Never seen, by the way, I had never seen any of these guys live except for the Hardys. So for me thinking my first NXT show was going to be at Stand and Deliver in Vegas, to getting it a month early and still being able to go to Vegas, oh baby, this is the life. What can I say? Roxanne Perez makes her entrance and then they go to commercial break. Frickin' hell, I hate these commercials at WWE shows. At least AEW, you can't always tell when they're in commercial. But you make the entrance, then lights go out. They're just standing in the ring for 5 minutes. And then lights go back on. They're playing Roxanne's song again. She's posing at the top of the turnbuckle as they play the WWE 2K25 entrance of her to where she gets to that point. And then they switch and there she is. It looks great on TV. It looks incredibly dumb when you're in person. Because she's standing on the top rope for 20 seconds, 25 seconds just in the same pose waiting. I don't know. Not for me. So Roxanne Perez made her entrance. Out comes Jordan Grace. Big pop. She's bigger in person. Let me tell you. I didn't, a lot of these people, you think, oh, man, they look really big on TV. Then they come out. She's jacked, man. She is incredibly jacked. That once they made their entrances, they just put on a good match. Nothing incredibly special, but I'm assuming it's Roxanne's swan song. She was most likely done with NXT. She has nothing else to do. And now with rumors of Cora Jade being injured again, which is a shame, there's no reason for her to be there anymore. She had some type of dynamic with her. They were friends. They hated each other. Then they're friends again. Cora Jade was supposed to be going to TNA to go against Masha Slamovich. I don't know if that's happening now. So they're going to have to switch some things up. Roxy's already been on Raw and SmackDown. She's already been on The Chamber. If this was her final night in NXT, it is the perfect final night for her. Get rid of her, Jordan Grace goes right in that top spot, which she is more than ready for. So just a fun match all around. Nothing crazy. Jordan Jordan Grace wins. Moving to the next matchup, you had, this was what I wanted to see. Moose versus Oba Femi for the NXT Championship. It was a 5% chance that Moose was actually going to get the job done, especially right before Vegas. But the aura that both of these meaty guys have. Moose coming out. Moose with the shoulders. Moose. The crowd didn't know who Moose was, except for me and Eamon, it felt like. Because they're chanting, bald, bald. Who cares if he's bald? The Rock is bald and you don't chant bald at him. Who gives a crap? We could chant bald at Ricochet. We can't chant it at Moose. Moose is not we shouldn't know him as being bald. So everyone's chanting bald. Me and Eamon are just screaming Moose the entire night. Moose! 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 So we got a nice Moose and whoo off between him and Obafemi. Oba coming out. This guy, even though he has just recently started, the aura he has, he oozes charisma with that entrance. I've said it, I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but I've said it just talking to people. If anybody makes their entrance walking like this, it'll look ridiculous. Unless you're Obafemi. It just works. It just makes sense. Going down to the ring ready for war. And these guys put on a clinic. Moose is that veteran that people in the theater didn't know him. How do you not know Moose? This match was just such a treat. It was worth the price of admission for me. Because they announced this. I said, Eamon, we're going to be going. And then they announced Stephanie versus Julia title for title. I said, all right, we're really going to go. So, some crazy spots in this match. Moose hitting that spear. I'm glad I got to see the spear. Oba power bomb and then into the tiger bomb at the end. Just such a treat. These guys going back and forth. They had match of the night for me. It was like, 15 minutes this match, give or take? I could be wrong. It felt longer because I was invested. Incredible match. Then they go to shake hands and boom, the lights go off. Let it breathe. I understand it's 2 hours, like I said, but I wanted to see them shake hands. Not have to zoom in on my phone and try to see the moment that they're like talking, Moose acknowledging, Oba, you have it, and you are going to be something special one day. I mean, even before when Oba made his entrance, he got a little bit of acknowledgement from The Undertaker, which was cool. But I would have loved to see him and Moose shake hands and Moose go off into the sunset back to TNA, which is what I'm assuming is happening. That was a little upsetting to me. Anyway, after this, you had a crazy street fight between Ethan Page and Javon Evans. I thought Ethan Page's theme song sucked. And now I guess it's kind of catchy because he made his entrance and the whole crowd is going, He's not smiling! I didn't hear anybody do that before, but I guess we started a trend. It's like when they were in France, I think, and Randy Orton made his entrance. Maybe it was Germany and Berlin. And everybody started singing along to Orton's theme. Ego. Hit him with a smile. But the guy didn't even smile when he made his entrance. If people are doing this now for Ethan Page, just wait till he's on a bigger stage. And of course, Javon, people, I think the intro to his song is stupid. Your boy is bouncy, it says. Your boy is bouncy! Whole crowd screamed it. It was the coolest thing. Wasn't much of a street fight. They didn't go into the streets. They didn't fight in the crowd. They did a crazy cutter into the chair. Javon Evans set up these chairs, and it looked like, I think it had the spine up like this. I could be wrong. But he had the 2 chairs set up. Ethan Page is holding on to him. Javon's on the top rope. Grabs him like an X. Throws him over his head into the chairs. I thought he was broken in half, like JR would say. But then Ethan Page picks him up in a power slam position and puts him through a table in the corner. Of course, Eamon had to leave to go, I don't know what he went to do. Go to the bathroom or grab another drink. He missed that. Some of the craziest bumps I've ever seen. He comes back and then they have a table set up from the ring to the announce table. I said, oh God, somebody's going to die here. Ethan Page ends up on the outside on the apron and Javon jumps over, hits a cutter through the table. Crazy bumps just for the sake of having them, and I loved it. It's a street fight. Let's freaking go. Javon's immediately raised up his stock. And Ethan Page, he can have a good match with anybody. So if you thought that was the only crazy table spot they did, you're wrong. Because that happened. Javon went back in the ring, and then he just jumped into the announcer table. So he just likes to jump. Your boy is bouncy. What can I say? Javon wins the match. The right winner. These guys were able... I saw it on Twitter, somebody said, and I agree with it. These guys were able to put on a very, very entertaining feud without being overexposed. They maybe had one segment a week. A short segment. Maybe it was backstage, or they put on these promos. It's been going on for a little bit now. Javon had his mouth wired shut. The final match delivered after all of the hype. And it wasn't even built as big as it could have been. So for these two to do that, incredible. Great job to you guys. Fantastic match. After this, you got Eddie Thorpe. Massive heat. I'm not a big Eddie Thorpe fan, honestly. So Eddie Thorpe's cutting a promo. Crowd's booing the hell out of him. And then I see people in the crowd start standing up looking towards one of the doors on the side. I said, is Trick about to run out right in front of us? Now, we weren't like directly in front of him, but door opens, Trick starts running out. I said, oh my God. I should have got up and ran down to get like right in front of him, but I didn't. He runs right through us, down to the ring, and beats the hell out of Eddie Thorpe. Reminds me of when I was at, I think it was Nassau Coliseum back in the day when John Cena had his match against Zack Ryder and Kevin Owens ran out right in front of us. I could still smell his cologne. Kevin Owens ran right out, pop-up powerbomb to John Cena. I'll never forget that moment. So this is much like that. And Trick Williams running past, even though I couldn't smell his cologne, he had no shirt on. Trick's got the aura. He went through his little character development where he was losing. He's mad. Now he's got to take out all of his aggression. Nice little battle as we're getting ready for the main event, which is Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia, title for title. Julia was a little banged up going into this match, but I didn't think anything of it. I said, who is main roster ready? That's who this was for me. Is Stephanie Vaquer getting called up, or will it be Julia? At the end of the day, I don't think it's either of them. Stephanie Vaquer was the New York crowd favorite, as she should be. I saw her at Forbidden Door against Mercedes Moné. I said, guys, this matchup, everybody's saying, yeah, it's going to happen. I said, this is a sleeper to be match of the night. And then Mercedes and Vaquer ended up having an incredible match. Crowd was quiet in the beginning, except for me. I was pretty loud. And it hit this crescendo where everybody was going nuts, which is why Vaquer got signed by WWE. That match put her on the map. So her being the New York crowd favorite, deserved, and 100% what should be. Julia comes out, didn't get as big of a pop as I expected, but we're seeing history right in front of our eyes. Title for title. First time this has ever happened in the women's division in NXT. You had Keith Lee do it, and then he vacated one of the belts. I think this is going to be different. Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, even though they only had about 10 minutes, 12 minutes, because everything else, took a lot of the time out of the show. CW has a hard cutoff. 10 o'clock, show's over, no overrun, which is a shame. I missed the overrun. But back and forth this match was. Julia did Stephanie's little head bonk with the legs. Then Stephanie did the head bonk with the legs. End of the match comes. Vaquer just starts spamming finisher. Hits her finisher twice after a couple of super kicks. 1, 2, 3. Stephanie Vaquer defeats Julia to become a double champion. I lost my voice from it. I screamed the most probably in Moose and Oba, but I screamed the loudest when Stephanie won that belt. And you could see my reaction up on the YouTube channel and Instagram and TikTok right now if you really want to go see. Stephanie stands tall, confetti going crazy, up on the Titantron, and new NXT Women's Champion. You deserve it, Chance. And then the show's over. So, one hell of a show. Great matches, no duds. Capped off by an incredible moment. Stephanie Vaquer getting her flowers. Julia probably taking some time off to go heal her injuries. I don't know if she's going to go back to NXT for a rematch. Maybe she'll be a heel. But Stephanie Vaquer is the one right now. And she is going to defend both of these titles. She's not just going to do one title, vacate the other. She just won the North American belt. Now she won the NXT belt. If there's anybody that's going to be a 2-division champion and defend them both in the same night, multiple times over, it's going to be Stephanie Vaquer. And she is the most believable woman to do it. So am I happy that I went to this show? Oh, hell yeah. I had 10 minutes to catch my train by the time the show ended. So I got my merch, ran to the train, got a seat, and that was it. So overall, if you guys did not go to this show, I'm sorry, you really missed out. This was not a regular episode of NXT. This was a PLE, a premium live event, a pay-per-view for free on weekly television. So if you didn't get a chance to check this show out, please do. It was so good. Tons of incredible moments. And the road to WrestleMania and the road to Stand and Deliver it's just getting even crazier. This was exactly what I needed to get back into the swing of things. I really needed to ramble about something, and I'm glad that we had this show, and we have a lot coming up this weekend as well. So thank you all for listening. I have been your host, Nick Pearl. This has been the Ramblin' About Wrestling podcast, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Let's keep rambling, everybody.